see a journey. A man crossing the sands.
A knight.
Warrior. Your paths will merge.
Dude, I love the movie. You are an amazing Conan. Amazing Conan.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, one of the things I loved about your Conan compared to Arnold's Conan was I could actually understand what you say.
Yeah.
I could actually understand what Conan says in this movie. I wanted to ask you about actually preparing for the role. Did you just go strictly off the script, or did you look at the original Robert E. Howard material, the Marvel comics, and some of the past Conan stuff to kind of get an inspiration?
My inspiration came straight from Frank Frazetta. Like, I wanted to take that character, rip it right off the canvas, and put it on the screen. A lot of my influence came through, I mean, yeah, definitely Robert E. Howard and the Dark Horse comics. Those were the big influences, and then I wanted to incorporate, I studied a lot of lions. I wanted him to be like, he's a product of his environment. I wanted to like prowl and hunt like a lion, and just his movement, the way he walked, like heel to toe. I wanted to incorporate the samurai, the coat of it, not only just like the grace of it, to this barbaric character. I wanted him to wield that battle, you know, whether it be a battle axe or his broadsword, like a katana. So I wanted him to, you know, and we wanted him to be really. He's smart, he's witty, he's quick, he's got a nice sense of humor, he's a drinker, he's fights, he fucks, he's a pirate, he's a thief. It's a fun character to play.
When a Cimmerian feels thirst, it is the thirst for blood. When he feels cold, it is the cold edge of steel. But the courage of a Cimmerian is tempered. He neither fears death nor rushes foolishly to meet it.
I want to begin by asking you, Ron, about your character, Conan's father, Conan. He's a very protective father. Can you talk a little bit about that opening scene and sort of why he's so protective of Conan throughout the beginning of the film?
Well, I think that there's a kind of a poignancy of him losing his wife on the battlefield. Even in the short time that they're together in that opening sequence where he actually delivers Conan. There's a real, you could tell that there's this depth that happens between she and he, that with her being lost to him, he has to make up for in the way he channels all of his energy toward his son, their offspring, and sort of raise him to honor her memory and the things that were important to her for her one child.
There's really a connection between Conan and Kalar in a sense.
Yeah.
Conan watched his father murdered. Kalar watched his wife get murdered.
Right.
But then, can you talk about that connection? Really, Conan's quest for vengeance.
Well, I mean, as a father, I mean, you could pretty much, if someone were to kill my father in front of my eyes and I've watched it happen, it's pretty. That's been the rest of my life trying to find that guy too. So it wasn't very hard to kind of get into that. But at the same time, you don't want it just to be about revenge. You know, you want it to have a little bit of a redemption. You want it to have, you know, a sense of humor, and you want to humanize them. It can't just be to go out there and just slice people's heads off and just blood for blood. To me, I would find that just uninteresting. But you want to add a little bit more flavor in there. So I think we did that.
I want to begin by asking you about your character, Tamara, and the attraction when she first meets Conan. He has an interesting way of talking to women.
Do you have a name?
Tamara Amalia Jorvi Karushan. And yours?
Conan.
That's it?
How many names do I need?
Yeah, he's a real charmer, very chivalrous. He's a chauvinist. He thinks women are good for one thing and one thing only. And that's pretty much all the women he's ever known in his life are whores, essentially, and sluts, whatever they called them back then. Hussies.
Harlequins.
You know, yeah. And yeah, he has a very low opinion of women, and I am a very strong-willed woman, which you see right from the very beginning. So obviously, we would butt heads because he's kidnapped me, but we butt heads even more because I'm refused to be some sort of damsel in distress, and I sort of go toe-to-toe with him, which is really, really fun to do, especially when Jason is as large and dominating as he is.
Well, that was the other aspect that I really loved about him was, I mean, he's really a barbarian. You know, he drinks and he has an interesting way of talking to women and...
Yeah, you know, but that's the great thing. It's like, it's almost like when I play Drogo. He's got this, he's set in his ways, but at the same time, that's just his hard outer shell. And like when you get in there and you see his soft underbelly, that's what you want to, it makes him human. And when you see him be vulnerable and obviously the woman saves his life, and he deserves her respect and his loyalty, and that's where things kind of change. Like it's never happened to him before, so it's beautiful to do that as an actor.
And tell me about preparing for the action scenes, because you have a lot. Is this the most action that you've done in a film?
You know, this and G.I. Joe. But this was different action. This was swords and horses.
Not bad. I think he likes you.
But this was probably more intense due to the fact that I'd never ridden a horse until I got to Bulgaria, so I had to learn a whole new skill set. And then drive a chariot with 4 horses going top speed, which is petrifying. But it was awesome. It was really fun.
Fight scene that you have where you take down all the guys. What kind of training did you have to? Because it's awesome. Like, what kind of training did you have to do?
Thank you. I'm a martial artist. I've been doing martial arts since I was little, 10 years now, and I basically trained my whole life for this because I've done the sword since I was like 7. So that actually just fell into place in the movie because Conan's a sword expert. So that really helped.
What inspiration did you sort of take for the character? Did you look at the Marvel comics and some of the Robert E. Howard books, or how did you kind of get ready to play young Conan?
It's actually quite every comic book and every movie is very different perceptions of the character of Conan. It may be a big difference or maybe a small difference, but each one of them is very different. Like, even look at the paintings. If you look at one of the Frank Frazetta paintings, it's quite different from one of the comic book paintings, and you just get a different idea. So that was pretty difficult to assess the character with so many perceptions of the character. And Jason Momoa actually really helped me do that because we were discussing the character the whole time I was in Bulgaria, trying to get an idea of who we were playing and try to just narrow it down so we were both playing the same guy.
Were you a fan of the original material? Did you go back and kind of read any of the books or look at the comics?
You know, I wasn't really familiar with it. It came out just before I was born, just after I was born. I'm 31, so I'm not quite sure how long ago it came out exactly. But there's 80 years worth of material. Visually, Jason and I looked at a lot of stuff. We looked at the paintings and some of the comic stuff. But when there's such a loyalty to a franchise as there was for the Conan in general and the Arnold film, when you're updating it and you're bringing it into current times, you're obviously being very respectful of the fandom and the lineage and the legend and all of that, but you want to bring your own special sauce to it, and so that's kind of just what I did. I made some choices, and hopefully people like what I decided on.
You're sought to enslave all of High Forest.
I know that for a long time there was talk about you playing Red Sonja, so I was curious when you got invited to be part of this, was it sort of exciting for you to finally get into the Conan world a little bit?
It was. I was really excited because of my injury. I couldn't do Red Sonja. My injury to my arm, and ultimately, if it's hurt again, I'll be permanently paralyzed, which is not really worth it. So this, I got to use kind of a different set of evil tools, if you will, to do my battles. And I love being this character. I think she was fantastic and majestic and insane, and it was great fun.
How cool was it that Morgan Freeman does the narrating in the movie?
So cool, man. I saw it for the first time last night, too.
Oh, okay.
35 of my best friends. We went to Lionsgate, did a little private showing for me, and we lost it. I mean, I was so proud of it.
Did you know that going into it? Did you know that
I
he did
found out,
voiceover?
very, very later on, but it's so great. It just gives it that respect and quality. I mean, he's God. It was really, really cool that Morgan Freeman, I'm very thankful that he did do that.